Can you see that? Bahaba. Yeah, I went there once. Well, Mrs. C and I went there once. For somebody that makes YouTube videos, I'm not very good at it. I have this Gerber multi-tool that came with its own pouch that was made out of some sort of ballistic nylon or whatever they call that crap. And it was pretty much crap. I mean, it held up for me pretty good because I've had this tool now for, I don't know, 2-3 years maybe. And the holster for it still works pretty good. However, the main strap on the back of it that your belt would go through, it ripped and tore off probably about 6 months ago. But it also had the secondary straps where you could put it on your belt sideways instead of up and down, which is okay, except for the fact that when it's sideways on your belt and the Velcro that holds the, or hook and loop that holds the flap in place has kind of lost its hook and loopy over time, the tool would fall out. If I bent over something, it would just, the flap would open and it would just fall out. So I couldn't have that. And about 2 years ago, I cut a piece of leather. Actually, I trimmed a belt for our granddaughter, and I enjoyed trimming it and tweaking it, making it to fit her and stuff. And I thought, you know, I think I could enjoy doing some leather work. So on the heels of that, 2 years ago, I went out and purchased a couple of tools and a piece of leather and I don't know, some other stuff to maybe get started doing leather work. And that sat in a bag that I put all that stuff into to, you know, keep it together until about a month ago. And I thought, you know, I got that big piece of leather and I thought, I think I could make a pouch for my multi-tool. And I came up with this idea in my head that I was going to do this pouch that would have a front, and I would wet form the front around the tool. It would have a back that would come up and over and put a snap on the front, and then put a couple of slits in the back of that back so that your belt could slip through. Well, that's a pretty simple design that wouldn't require a lot of fancy work, being that this would be my first project, and it wouldn't require a whole lot of real fancy stitching or any of that business, and it can be cut out pretty easy. But then I went online on, well, I came to YouTube and looked at a few videos regarding leather work and making sheaths and pouches and various things for multi-tools and pistols and whatnot. And you can go down that rat hole probably for eons and never get to the end of it. But I found this guy that even made that process even more simple. He took a piece of leather and made a loop, and then the front of that loop that he made, he formed around the knife that he was gonna, or actually it was a multi-tool. So he wet formed the front, and then he cut out of that same piece of leather a big loop, and then stitched all that together, and that loop created a belt loop, and there was no snaps, and it was very easy to stitch together. And I thought, that's even more simple than the plan I had in mind. And along the way I thought, well, this is my first leather project, and you know, for whatever reason I decided not to turn the camera on. I was telling Mrs. C tonight, I said, well, you know, the only video I have of this whole project is actually dyeing the leather the color I wanted last night. There's no video of me wet forming it around the tool, no video of cutting it out, no video of pre-drilling the holes for the stitching. And then earlier tonight I stitched it together. Didn't take any video of that. So I have some extensive footage of me dyeing the leather. And then I have a video of the finished product, which I'm pretty stoked about. As you can see, it's wet form basically around the tool, and the tool fits in there nice and snug. Kind of stoked about my first stitching job. It's got a few rough edges that I'm going to leave in it because it's a first product and it's not a prototype. I plan on using this every day. And we chose dark brown, and I still need to put some probably get some Lexol and put on here just to protect it and weatherproof it and waterproof it a little bit. That's it, my first leather project for a multi-tool. I wet formed this front, which was a booger by the way, to get this to form down without puckering, and I finally managed to do that. And of course this was a big piece of leather when I started, so I worked it over the tool as a big piece of leather. I let that dry overnight, and then I cut out the form, you know, the shape that I wanted to sort of match the tool. The second piece of this is just two pieces of leather. You've got the wet form front, and then you have this piece. As you can see, there's three thicknesses of leather, and this piece is just one big flap that is sort of contoured with the front, the contour that I wanted for the tool. You stitch it in three steps. I stitched down 5 stitches down this side, then 5 down this side to leave that opening in the back there so that your belt can go through. And then the third is you stitch around the whole perimeter, the rest of the perimeter, stitching the back together. There's holes there that didn't need to be there, but I was pre-drilling all the holes and had it all lined up and clamped together, so yeah. Well, it's a first project. And this is on the inside of your belt, so nobody's going to see it except my YouTube channel subscribers and viewers. I'm pretty stoked about the final results. It worked out better really than I planned. The thing about this whole project that I thought would be the hardest for me was the stitching. I think I have 30 minutes in all of the stitching, even in the 3 stages. And I have to say that I'm pretty excited about the finished product. Look forward to this serving me for many years, hopefully. It's got a really nice smell to it. And as this gets some wear on it and gets more supple and, you know, flexible, right now, after I put the dye on it last night, it really got stiff. And I think with a couple of treatments of Lexol and just using it, it'll break in nicely, and already the tool pulls out a lot easier than it did when I first stitched it together. It was like, ugh. Now it's pulling out pretty easy. So there you go. Did something and didn't film it. Well, if you like this leather crafting video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like this leather crafting video, give it a thumbs up. We thank you for watching, and please tune in again. Off.